Satellites Live. Satellites Live. Satellites Live.
Hey, hello, and welcome to another edition of Satellites Live. You are indoors. You have to be indoors. It's a lovely sunny evening, but you've chosen to sit and watch us. So we hope we're going to give you a very entertaining and in some ways spiritually fulfilling hour together. Hello if you're watching as a family. Hello if you're watching on your own. Hello from me, Martin, and my team. Charles.
Anyway, are we your team or
Yes?
That sounded
You
very
are
weird.
my team. You're my team.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Hi, I'm Charles. Hello.
I'm Katie. Nice to be with you guys.
Great. So when we talked about before, when we did the run through, we talked about making this slicker. We do this in a more slick way. Do we start again, or are we allowed to start again?
Just carry on.
Okay, great. Well,
Roll with
welcome everybody. How are you guys doing? How's your week been? Let's have a highlight from each of you. Charles.
My week has been good. I've been, I said earlier on my Satellites 56 video that I've been rebuilding Lego. So I found like some Lego kits that I hadn't rebuilt for a while. In fact, they're behind me. Do you want to see one?
I think we're going to have to.
This is Woody's Roundup.
Oh, look.
Amazing.
Children's toys there.
It's not, no, I don't know, Lego's not just for children.
No, some Lego's not just for children. That Lego is for children.
You find that was actually 8 and up, so.
Okay.
It might be for children, but I don't think I could build it. So.
Katie, how's your week been?
My week's been good. I've had a lot of lions, which is really nice, and I always appreciate. And before we went on this live stream, my brother and I actually just baked an entire loaf of banana bread, and I've consumed most of it already. So I'm doing fantastic.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah.
Nice bringing in the baking theme as well. There may be more of that later. I have had a haircut. I want to tell you, there's been a lot of chatter on the I say on the internet, on our WhatsApp groups. There's been a lot of chatter about my hair, and Mrs. Saunders has done, I think, quite a good job in cutting the back and sides of my head. Because if you remember, I looked a little bit like, it came out a little bit like Toad from Super Mario. And now it's thinned right out, although I'm not entirely sure it's the same length on both sides. So I may spend the evening adopting that pose and talking to you like that. Is that creepy?
I prefer the other side.
Slightly.
You'd like me to talk to you like that?
Yeah.
Shall we get on with the show? Charles, I think
Yes.
you have the first of this week's notices.
I do indeed. As ever, we are going to be playing Kahoot later on twice in the session. So if you've not downloaded the Kahoot app yet on your phone or iPad or wherever you've got it, then do so, or get another internet browser up so that you can do that later.
Great. Also, if you're not part of one of our WhatsApp groups, I would encourage you to do that. In order to do that, for safeguarding reasons, I need an email from one of your parents saying it's okay for us to message you using WhatsApp. So you can get them to send me an email, and then we can add you to, we have a year 7 and 8 WhatsApp group, a year 9 to 13 WhatsApp group. And then we have one big one that we message just once or twice a day, where we send out little reflections or just news about different things that we're doing like this. So do sign up for those, because it's how you find out about the stuff that we're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. We also have an Instagram account. Most of you guys know, satellites_youth. This is like a little name tag. I'm trying to point in the right direction.
Look at that. That was clever.
A little name tag that you guys can scan if you're really lazy. But if not, it's just satellites_youth. Will there be content on there regularly? We don't know. But when it comes, it's good. You don't want to miss it. And we've got all of our updates going there as well. So follow the Instagram. Charles.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones to be live streaming, and so we want to point you in the direction of Sunday mornings where there are live streams, church services happening. It'd be great. It's what I'm really loving about the Sunday services is the fact that people are commenting in the YouTube comment section as it goes out live, and it really feels like you're as much as possible like at church, which is something that you don't get if you watch it later on. But when you watch it live, like there is a real sense that you are doing church together with other people. And there's a lot of people, like it's in its hundreds, way more than people who watch this. But it's really nice to feel like you're part of something and part of the community of church. So I really recommend them for you.
Amazing. Yes, we are also doing faith questions every week now. We've got the very cute Zachary asking us questions that you guys have sent in anonymously. There is a link on our WhatsApp chats. If it's not there now, then it will be by the end of the live stream. So please send in your questions there. We're getting some amazing ones, and it's amazing to be going through this stuff with you guys and exploring these topics that are clearly so relevant in your lives and in all of your peers' lives as well. So you're not only asking a question for yourself, but you're asking a question for really our whole community so that we can all kind of grapple with this stuff together. So there's a link on our WhatsApp groups, submit your faith questions there, and then they could be featured in one of our Satellites Live videos. Martin.
Yes, and just to let you know, Zachary has also had a haircut, so watch out for that later on. It's better than mine. Also, we wanted to tell you about a brilliant podcast that you can download. It's not the one I keep banging on about. It's a short daily, it's a little reflection on a passage from the Bible, and it's presented every day by Mike Pilavachi or Andy Croft, who are two of the leaders from Soul Survivor Church in Watford. They used to run the Soul Survivor festivals. Many of you will have seen them there. And they're doing these brilliant little reflections on the Bible, and they're like 6 or 7 minutes. They come out every single day, and they're brilliant. So we would highly recommend them to you. They're called Take Heart with Mike and Andy. You can find them on the Soul Survivor website or on YouTube or on Spotify.
And talking of podcasts, we will mention the podcast we've been talking about a lot. And the Man You Made to Be, we have released all 5 episodes that we managed to record before lockdown happened. If you haven't watched them yet, why not watch them? Especially last week's where we talked about that topic. And I mean, I watched it back and wow. But it is really important too. And you should definitely watch it. But also, if you have watched it, why not share it with some friends or some other people that you might feel might really appreciate it right now, especially as this period makes you question a lot of stuff about who you are and where you put your identity in. The first couple of episodes really delve into that sort of thing. So it's worth listening to and engaging with.
And you can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or just don't. Just pretend that you're listening and then don't. Great. Also, we promised last week that we'd be bringing back small groups. And as with so many of our promises, we broke it. So we haven't managed to bring back small groups this week, partly because we didn't get enough of you signed up for them. And so we're going to be bringing back small groups next week, straight after Satellites Live. You need to get a parent. If you want to be part of our small groups, you need to get a parent to go onto Church Suite. I've emailed all the parents, and we've also sent in a link in the WhatsApp group, which we'll share again this evening. You just need to sign up. It's really quick to register, but we just need consent for you to be involved in those. And then next week, we will be doing like some face-to-face, actually seeing you stuff on Zoom, which you probably quite like Zoom. I hate Zoom. Is anyone else completely done with video calls? Maybe they. I'm not selling it, am I? But this will be amazing because it'll be youth.
Yeah.
Hooray!
I feel like we shouldn't slug off Zoom whilst we're on a live stream where we're using Zoom as our primary platform.
I love Zoom.
Just feel like we should probably not do that. I don't know.
Zoom. Yay.
Oh, it will be great. We're excited to see you guys' faces again and actually get to chat, have a two-way conversation. It's going to be good.
And so also you can get involved in this Satellites live stream right now. You can obviously type comments in the live chat on YouTube, or if you're on one of our WhatsApp groups, we'd love you to. I love reading those back after. I don't know about you. I love after we've recorded, seeing what everyone's been talking about. So do talk along during the. Somebody said to me the other day, it's weird because if we were doing that on a Wednesday night when we were kind of physically together and people were talking, we'd be really grumpy about it. Whereas now we love it. So if you want to just like post on the WhatsApp group while we're talking, we're absolutely fine with that. Yeah. And talking of getting you involved, now it's time for this. So it's time for Showcase, which is the part of Satellites Live where we get to see what you have been up to. And this week you have been busy. Oh my goodness. So these are your amazing decorated satellites themed cakes that you have created and baked. I've had a couple of like really lovely messages from parents just thanking us for setting this particular challenge this week because they've been able to eat these cakes. But there is some fantastic stuff here. So
good.
This is we had quite a few. This is quite a weird one. This one, I think this is just a sheet of blue icing which someone submitted, which it's probably not going to win if I'm honest. But a number of other really good ones that were until that point popping up, and I'm hoping some more will appear really soon. But people did really well, didn't they? Were you taken aback by the sort of quality of these entries?
Yeah,
I really was. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, thanks. No, I thought they looked. We've made a conscious decision not to talk over one another, so we're all just terrified of speaking. But I really love the cakes. I think they look great. Look at this one. This one's like a mini satellite. I really like it. Like it's like a proper one. Ooh,
that reminds me of a giant, like a chocolate that's been blown up to massive size. I really like that one.
Kind that you get in a box.
Yeah, exactly like that. You've got to turn your head for that one, but that's awesome also. There's actually someone's done the proper writing of at St. Mary's Reigate on that one. That's impressive. What are those things? But what are they made? Is it honeycombs?
Those I don't know.
Awesome.
They look like cake pops.
What's on the top of that one? Is that like chocolates that have been? Yeah, I know that's a cross. Yeah, but they're chocolates and things.
That one's cool. I like the mini cakes in that one.
Clever.
I like little salads. It's really cool.
Wow.
So these are, and then the sheet of icing as well. So those are our runners up. I think we're right in saying. And so, are we ready to move on to our finalists? We've got 4 finalists, which have been pre-selected by producer Ollie, who he's always there, working behind the scenes for the good of those that love him. No, that's God. Sorry, I've confused him with God. But he is behind the scenes and he is working very hard.
And he is the voice in our ears, literally.
We can hear him at all times, just chattering away like a monkey. And he is currently just doing a little technical thing. Here is, as you can see, seamlessly appearing on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Here are our finalists.
Oh, that's cool.
This is going. I'm loving this. Oh, look at that one. So we've got a sort of satellites hoodie, I think there.
That's amazing.
This is a sort of jam and icing. Oh, it's an S. It's one of its really S. Cool.
I like that one.
Okay, what is this? This is the same cake from 3 angles, but there's an enormous level of detail on that one.
Is that a Rank of Banks logo there?
Wow.
I think it is.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Not gonna lie.
Okay, and we've got that wonderful one as well. So we are going to have a go at judging this now between us. And, with all these things technically going so smoothly, I'm sure there'll be no problem. But we're going to number them 1 to 4, and then we're going to hold up fingers to vote, okay? So cake number 1 will be this one, okay? So that's cake number 1. We don't know who's entered these, by the way. Only Ollie knows. So we're voting without any bias towards our favourite young people, which of course we don't have. This is cake number 2. That is a very detailed one with all the logos and things on it. It's even got like
stars,
a TikTok logo on it. That's cake number 3, which is the hoodie, and then cake number 4 is the jammy S on a bed of icing. So all worthy contenders, but there can be only one winner. So after 3, guys, can you hold up the number of fingers that apply to the cake that you want to win the Great Satellite Showcase? Look, there's Auntie Karen. Look, can you see Auntie Karen in the corner there? Wonderful. Right. Okay. After 3. 1, 2, 3. It's number 3 is the winner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Number 3. So that is the hoodie cake.
Hoodie cake. That is a Lucy's. Oh my goodness. Congrats, Lucy.
Lucy, you win the cake. You can eat the cake now. That is your prize. Congratulations.
So wear it.
Yeah, it does. And I have to say that you've gone above and beyond with the icing pen there. That is amazing. So well done. I would love to tuck into that, but no one dropped any of these cakes around to my house, so unfortunately I can't. But well done, everyone. An amazing week on Satellites Showcase. We had a record number of entries. And how on earth would we top this week's challenge? We had the stop motion stuff. Then we had the theme music last week, which resulted in our Satellites Live theme tune. And then this week, the Bakeathon. But we've got an even more, if it were possible, exciting challenge next week. And so to give you a clue, what we're going to use actually is an old friend of Satellites, so an old friend of mine, American Rob McNerney, who came and gave his story at Satellites last term and came and spoke and was so brilliant. And he started to do something in lockdown, which I think is quite entertaining and which you might be able to emulate. So I think we can have a look at Rob now doing one of his trick shots. No.
Nope.
That would have been so good if you just.
Do you want me to try and do a trick shot now, Martin?
It's hard because we need to. I mean, it's quite hard to do.
I'm going to throw this.
Yeah.
Into the bin, which is over there. Okay.
Oh, brilliant!
Ready? Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Wow.
Did you
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you did see, but it bounced off the wall. And like,
here it is.
Oh, here we go.
Here's Rob. Okay, so that's Rob. You can see it's a slight angle. Can we see that again, Ollie? Can we replay that? Okay. So this is a ping pong ball and a cup and another ping pong ball. Look at that. He did all that, and that took about 178 tries, but it looks amazing. And so our challenge to you is to set up and execute an amazing trick shot like this. You can use anything you like. You can throw something into something. You can catch something difficult. You've probably seen Dude Perfect and other people like that who do these. And you can go there to lots of YouTubers for inspiration. But what we want you to do is set up an impossible looking trick shot and execute it, and then send in the video to us. So you can be as creative as you like. Oh, guys, have you got any favorite trick shots you like to do at home?
Not that I like to do, but I've seen one online, which was a dad hitting a golf ball onto his roof and then it rolling down and landing in a cup, and that was quite impressive.
Okay, so if anyone can better that would be great. Charles, do you have a favorite trick shot?
I don't. I used Matt and I. If you remember, Matt, we did a trick shot once with a rucksack where he chucked it off the top of the balcony, and I caught it.
Yes, exactly that. So that sort of thing. So just a couple of little ground rules. If you can, please keep your face out of the video. If you can't keep your face out of the video, we will use Ollie's genius creative skills to put something over your face. But it would be much easier not to do that. So if you could do it without showing your face, that would be great. And just try and keep it short. And also the other thing is it's really cool if you manage to sort of make it look like it was your first try as well. So don't run around celebrating like you've just scored the winning goal at Wembley. The cooler you can be, the better. So that's this week's Showcase Challenge. Once you've completed your trick shot video, send it in to satellitesyouth@gmail.com. We will put the link on the WhatsApp group. And I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. I think it's going to be a very creative week of trick shots. Guys, have we got any, is there any chatter on the WhatsApp group? Anyone talking about anything interesting?
There was someone just said that Dude Perfect is the best, which I agree. I love Dude Perfect. It's really cool.
Yeah, Elspeth has just, bless her heart, had her appendix out, but she's still watching from bed. So hi, Elspeth. We love you. I hope you get better soon. Bless your heart for still being with us.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
Prayers for Elspeth.
Yeah.
And so guys, if you want to get involved on the WhatsApp groups or on the live chat, do that throughout. But now, Katie, it's time for something different.
It is. It's game time. We've got an amazing quiz this week. We had some ideas going on our Satellites Live group chat for what the quiz could be. Several of them had to be vetoed, unfortunately, just for creative and potentially safeguarding reasons. But we have got, I don't even know, is there a title for this quiz, guys?
The bookworm quiz?
The bookworm quiz. Let's go with that. I'm really excited about these because I like books and I'm a boring person. But this is our code. We've got it on the screen.
Oh, no, you're not boring.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
I came in too late, didn't I? I came in too late.
You guys can see the code, but in case you need a reminder, it's 5679984. Get your names in. We're kind of seeing them go up. I think we're going to cut it off when we hit I think we went over 50 one week, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Let's go for that
It
again.
was very exciting. Yeah, 51 if you can. We know that some of you are playing on the same device as well. For those of you who are, let us know on the WhatsApp groups who gets to make the final decision, especially if you're playing with a sibling. Who gets to make the final call? Oh,
Wow.
we're
This
at
is
45
nearly
and
at
counting.
50. That's exciting. I don't know if we've got anyone in Somerset this week. We had people in Somerset last week.
Yeah.
We branched right out. Wow, we got
It was
50
nice, and
people playing.
Great. This is very cool.
If you are watching from somewhere else other than Reigate, if you do, just let us know and Red Hill. If you comment in the comment section in the YouTube thing, it'd be lovely to hear from you and see whether you're watching. It'd be great.
Definitely.
Okay, I think we've probably got everyone in now.
Oh my goodness. I think we've got upwards of 50, which is amazing.
Apparently, we've
We're
got a
gonna cut it
German
off.
person.
We've got a German person. I also saw Putin in there somewhere. So shout out to you. Boris Johnson is back. He's a weekly regular. Welcome, welcome.
The head of our nation.
Fantastic. Okay. Our first question, are you ready, is who wrote The Wind in the Willows? Was it A.A. Milne, Kenneth Grahame, Lewis Carroll, or Rudyard Kipling? Was it A.A. Milne, Kenneth Grahame, Lewis Carroll, or Rudyard Kipling? There are some proper like legends in there. They have defined, I think, a lot of people's childhoods. However, it is only one of them that wrote this book.
Gone very highbrow this week, hasn't it?
I think it's Charles just compensating for how much Marvel content there's been in the past. Oh my goodness. You guys, you actually knew that one. I'm very impressed. 28 of you voted. It is correct. It is Kenneth Grahame. Are we ready for our next question? Or can we see the leaderboard? The leaderboard. The Rainers are there. They are in it to win it.
Wow.
Very exciting. Nimbus is fourth. Charles, you have a very intelligent, well-read dog.
Yes, he's good.
Amazing. Should we go to our next question? Question number 2 is place these Harry Potter books in order of release, earliest to latest. That's earliest to latest. And I believe on your screen, you'll be able to kind of drag these into order. So these Harry Potter books, earliest to latest. So in chronological order, these Harry Potter books. Have you guys read all of the Harry Potter books?
I have, yeah. Martin,
No.
you've never read Harry Potter, have you?
I've tried the first one a few times. I know this is going to make people angry, but yeah, I don't really like Harry Potter.
Martin, there's a great principle that we all learned growing up, which is if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Just don't like it.
Oh,
It's not really
each
for
their
me. It's not for me. I'm too old. Sorry.
how
I'm
are you
set in my
guys
ways.
finding this? We've only got a couple seconds left. Get your answers in quickly. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm trying to read this, but actually, most of you got 74% of you got that correct. That's really good. To be fair, you think you know the order, and then when you're looking at them, you're trying to remember the plot in your mind, aren't you? And you're trying to order them. But the correct order is Philosopher's Stone, Prisoner of Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix, and then Half-Blood Prince. Should we see the leaderboard? Who is in the lead? Has it shifted? Unexpected Item has moved to second place. They are back with a vengeance. And Chandler Bing.
Oh,
He's here.
he was always here. I've got to put on my comedy glasses now. These just fell apart the other day, but they've only got one. I can't read the. Can you see that? I can't read. I can't read the thing.
Oh, unbelievable.
They're going to be off like that the whole time.
Also, I think it's fair to say that at least 3 of our players on the winners board, on the leaders board, are actually parents.
Yeah.
So I just shout out to all the parents who are committed and competitive.
Yeah. For the first
Great.
couple of weeks, they backed down, didn't they? But now they are fully
They're
engaged.
just there. Parents competing against their own children as well. It's great. We encourage competition, a little bit of healthy competition. All right, our next question is, which of these is not a Bronte sister? So, as you may know, there are 3 sisters who are all authors. Charlotte, Anne, Emily, or Violet. Which one was not a Bronte sister?
This is
You
the
guys
most
read any work by the Brontes?
highbrow question we've ever had.
Yes, it's really Penguin Classics themed, isn't it?
I
good.
haven't read any, but like we had a house in my school, like the houses were famous Yorkshire people, and so one of them was Bronte.
Wow,
The red.
that's exciting.
House. Yeah, I wasn't in that house, so it was never my
Get
favorite.
them in. Let us know if you've read a book or a poem by a Bronte sister on the WhatsApp chat and which one's your favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. You guys know your authors. 36 of you voted correctly. Violet Bronte was not, in fact, a Bronte sister. Although Charles did say before this that apparently they did have more sisters than just the ones who were authors.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't want to get told off.
Wow. I don't know if I would want to be a sister of so many talented people. Wow. Ella, I'm just going to go with Ella. Is on an answer streak, which is amazing. The Rainers are still holding first place. They are on it. I do think that one of the Rainers did study English literature. I could be very wrong, but I do think that one of them did. And if so, this is your shining moment. This is fantastic.
I just feel like we should, I'm going to take these ridiculous glasses off. Can I just do a little shout out? Because I don't know if she's watching, but we do have an actual Bronte at St. Mary's. And I feel like we should all say hello to Bronte because she's
Bronte.
probably got really excited.
Yeah.
I know she's only 6, but she would have got really excited.
Her mum is definitely watching.
There you go. So hello to Bronte's family.
Oh, amazing. Okay, are we ready for question number 4?
Yeah.
We are going to have a picture come up for question number 4, and you need to tell us who this is. Is it Rupert Bear, Paddington Bear, Winnie the Pooh, or Brother Bear? That's Rupert Bear, Paddington Bear, Winnie the Pooh, or Brother Bear.
Points for speed.
All classic characters.
It's revealing very slowly.
Oh.
Yay!
Oh, bless. Bronte is very, very happy about the shout out.
I love this. This really reminds me of catchphrase. What's Mr. Chips doing?
We should do catchphrase at some point. That'd be great.
Okay, it's very clever to
Oh,
doing this. Get your answers in.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, amazing. And most of you got this again. 32 of you voted. It is, in fact, Rupert Bear. The Rainers are still in first place.
Wow.
Unexpected item coming in second. Someone is in as My Cake Came Second. And they are now on our leaderboard as well. Amazing. Fantastic. Well done to you. All of the cakes were gorgeous. Just like to put that out there. We don't enjoy judging cakes.
Saunders kids are in.
Amazing. Okay, question number 5. Which of these is not a Hunger Games character? Gail Hawthorne, Effie White, Hamish Abernathy, or Primrose Everdeen? Which of these is not a character in the Hunger Games? Gail Hawthorne.
All sound made up.
Effie White, Hamish Abernathy, or Primrose Everdeen. I am a through and through Hunger Games fan. Those books shaped
Do you know the answer?
my life so much. I do know the answer. I reckon quite a few of our lot will know the answer as well.
But all those first names are in it, right?
Yeah.
They are.
Effie White is from Dreamgirls.
Effie White. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Well, you got that one right as well. Effie White is not a character in the Hunger Games. There is a character called Effie, but her surname is not White. And Unexpected Item has taken over the Rainers in the leaderboard. That is unprecedented, if that word hasn't been used too much already.
We've done so well not to say
But
that.
amazing. And Saunders kids are still holding 4th place. Oh, can I just shout out? 5th place is someone called Arab Prodigy, who is in fact my little brother, who is watching and playing from Oxford, just because he has such a strong competitive spirit. that he had to come on and prove that he was also
Playing from Oxford. So we have
doing
got a
great.
regional following now.
We're
Might be pushing it a little bit, but yes.
Wow.
Amazing. Okay, last question. Are we ready? Okay, place these comic book characters in order of first appearance, earliest to latest.
Wow.
I think that we just took this from 0 to 100 in terms of how difficult this question is, but Charles is in his element. He's ready. He's excited. So you guys are going to have a list. I'm not going to read them out until we have the answer, but you will get to place these in order of when they appear earliest to latest, these comic book characters.
We're no longer quite as highbrow as we were.
No, comic books can be highbrow. I'm not going to.
How the mighty have fallen.
They're called graphic novels sometimes.
Oh, boron.
Like they are books.
Wow.
All right, what do we think, guys?
Well, the answers
Order
are coming
them
in, but you
quickly.
haven't got long.
Oh, some people are deliberating over this, aren't they?
Oh, don't wait too long. You've only got a couple of seconds left.
Are you
Most
guys
of-
agreeing with your siblings? Are you disagreeing?
Wow. Okay.
74% of you, unfortunately,
Ooh.
74% did not get it correctly. However, I know that I definitely would not have. So the correct order was Batman, Hulk, Iron Man, and then Cyborg. These are all from 1939 to 1980. None of us were alive then, so it's completely okay.
Ridiculously hard question.
And there's only 1 year difference between Hulk and Iron Man.
Wow.
Iron Man actually came out after Hulk. You knew.
It's not okay. Okay, how has this affected the leaderboard? I'm very excited to find out.
I've actually put
As
the
is
glasses
Ollie,
back on
who
for
keeps
this.
telling us.
Third place.
Third place is Timbo.
Ooh.
Wow. Saunders kids are in second. Congrats,
Rigged.
guys. Are we going to hear cheers from the next room?
Oh,
An unexpected
wow.
item comes back to claim another victory. Well done. A little slow clap for you.
Good.
This was a fun time, guys. I think everyone was so smooth sailing that maybe you just built your confidence up too much and then it just dropped right at the end. However, we have some champions, which is amazing. Changing the tone slightly, although potentially still highbrow, depending on how he'd like to kind of pitch himself. We are now going to hear from Martin, who brings us our topic for today. Keep listening.
Much Charles or Katie or me, whoever handed over there. So very short talk this week. Just to introduce what we're going to do together this term. So this term we're going to do something a little bit different together. The last few terms we've looked at sort of broad topics. We looked at alpha. We did a mental health term. We did last term. We did a series of the influences, the different influences and the different things that influence our lives and the different ways that we can influence others. This term, the plan was always, believe it or not, we have plans. The plan was always to look at the person who is at the very center of our Christian faith. And I hope you know the answer to that is Jesus. And we want to do that because if you take Jesus out of Christianity, then it is really just a nice value system, but one of many. Someone particularly unfunny once said that if you take Christ out of Christian, all you're left with is Ian, and Ian isn't going to help you. But if Jesus is real, and if he is who he said he was, then that changes everything in the world. And it means that the creator of the universe came right up close to us by sending his son, and that through him we can actually know God. Just take a moment to think about that, because I know you hear that phrase a lot. But Jesus, if Jesus is who he says he was, and if we can know Jesus, then it actually means that we can know God, and that's quite an extraordinary thing. Now, because of Jesus, we have this amazing moral value system, and that's the thing on which a lot of the world's cultures and societies base their legal systems, their laws, their morals. And because of Jesus, we understand way more about what God is like, and actually a lot of what heaven is like. And we have loads of amazing stories, and we'll look at some of those, and many of them have become part of our culture. But the really important thing is that by knowing about Jesus and who he was, it helps us to actually know Jesus, who is God come near to us. And it helps us to know how to follow him. So this term, we're going to look at what it means to know Jesus by knowing about Jesus. And the best way to do that is by actually looking at, surprise, surprise, the Bible. So in the Bible, we have 4 books which are directly about what happened in Jesus's life, what Jesus went around doing, what he said, what he taught, and the things that he did. And so there are 4 Gospels, I'm sure you can name them, and we've decided that this term we are going to look at, you'll be pleased to hear, the shortest one, which is the Gospel of Mark. Now, we think Mark was written by a guy called John Mark, who was an assistant to Paul and Barnabas, who's mentioned in the book of Acts, and he probably didn't meet or know Jesus personally. He wasn't one of Jesus's disciples. You might think that the Gospels were written just by Jesus' disciples, but we don't know that Mark was somebody who knew Jesus personally. We think he was someone that was a bit like a journalist, taking lots of the stories that had been told by the people who knew Jesus personally and who were around Jesus and observed him and heard him, and then editing all of that together into one narrative. And so that's what the book of Mark is. It's the action-packed gospel. It's the shortest one. The stories are short and they move on really, really fast. And actually, interestingly, the first 10 chapters cover the first 33 years of Jesus' life. And then the last 6 chapters cover his last week. So it's like a tadpole. You've got loads and loads of very quick fire action about his life, and then very, very detail about just the last few days leading up to his death. So each week we're going to look at one chapter of Mark, and here is an exciting twist. We want to get everybody across all our satellites groups reading the Gospel of Mark this term. That is your challenge. It's not a very big challenge because it's not very long, but we're going to ask everybody to commit to reading the whole book of Mark. And to make that really spectacularly easy for you, what we've done actually is we've asked our leaders, who I know you're dying to see more of their wonderful faces, to read a chapter or a couple of chapters each week, and they will all be on this YouTube channel. So we'll let you know when they appear, and all you have to do is click on and listen to and watch a leader read you a chapter. You don't even need to sit there with the Bible if you don't want to, although I advise you do, of course, as a good youth worker. But you don't have to read it. You can have it read to you. You could even use it as a kind of strange bedtime story if you're so inclined. Now, we're not doing this to make you read the Bible because that's what we do, because we're churchy people. We're doing it because the Bible is so good for you. And if you read it, I guarantee you'll find things you've never heard before and things that amaze you, particularly about the life of Jesus. So most importantly, over this term, we're going to learn more about Jesus and who he was and what he did. And by doing that, I hope it'll help us to know him better. That's it. That's the whole talk for this week. Back to you in the studio, Charles or Katie.
Oh, great. It was me. It wasn't Charles, but good guess. That's great. I'm actually really excited about this talk. Martin and I had a chat about kind of what we were going to do this next term back in, I think it was February half term. And I remember just going on and on and on about, wouldn't it be great to do a gospel? Wouldn't it be great to kind of look at the Bible and look at Jesus's life and actually get to unpack this stuff together? Because I think that so many of the topics that we explore, so many of the questions that we ask about ethics, about what's right and wrong, about what's easy and what's difficult, about how we deal with hardships, about how we live our lives, so many questions that we have about the choices that we make, we can find answers about in Jesus's life. We can find kind of our kind of guiding principles in the choices that Jesus made. And kind of going back to what we talked about in faith questions last week, it doesn't always have to be about what maybe Jesus practically did, because I can imagine that maybe not many of us can relate to a Middle Eastern man who lived 2,000 years ago, but we can relate to a person who's got real friendships, real family relationships in their lives, real choices that they make about what they choose to say, what they don't, what they where they go, how they spend their time, how they treat people that they disagree with, all sorts of things like that. And Mark's gospel is jam-packed. It's like known as the gospel where the most happens in kind of the least amount of time. It sounds like Jesus's whole ministry happened within the span of 3 days, because Mark literally just goes, and then Jesus did this, and then Jesus did this. So there's not a lot of filler. It's incredibly exciting, and there's so many deep but really important things that we get to grapple with. Martin, is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to having our lovely leaders reading the Bible. So there's lots. You've had quite enough of the three of us now. And for the next few weeks, for the next term, really, we're going to be sharing with you some readings from the Bible with different leaders doing those. Some of them you won't have seen for a while, which is quite exciting. We might even have a couple of special guests in there. And also we're going to have some of those talks where we're going to look each week at a different chapter from the book of Mark. We're going to have different leaders doing those as well. So I think it's been a really fun term, and it's nice to have a little project together. We've got a few projects going, but this one is a reading project, and reading the book of Mark together as a whole youth group for the term. I feel like that's quite achievable. So I'm excited about doing it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, before we hand over to Charles for what I think is the final of Rank Your Thanks, we just need to correct something from early on. So you may have seen during the satellite showcase, we showed all the cakes, and there was a sheet of blue icing as one of the entries. Obviously, it wasn't meant to look like that. It was actually this brilliant entry, which you can see is wonderful and should not have been the background. So well done to you for making this. We're sorry you didn't win, but look at that stenciling there. How on earth did you do that? That is amazing work. So so a very worthy contender, and we're sorry we missed you out last time. Charles.
Cool. I've just got a comment saying that I look younger, and they don't know why I look younger. So I'm assuming that I now look 5 instead of 6. So shall we go into Rank Your Thanks?
Puppy dogs and rainbows, flowers too. These are the things which make me say thank you. Don't be hateful, just be grateful. It's time to rank your thanks. There's so many things to be grateful for, like hand sanitizer or a video call. Just keep on smiling, it'll be okay. There'll be another sunshiny day. Another sunshiny day. Puppy dogs and rainbows, flowers too. These are the things which make me say thank you. Don't be hateful, just be grateful. It's time to rank your thanks. It's time to rank your thanks.
Wow. Just for you guys. I know how much you love that intro jingle, so I thought, why not make it longer for the final week? And it is the final week. It is the final of Rank Your Thanks. We have been doing this for about 5 weeks now, battling it out with things that you were grateful for, and we are going to find out today what you are most grateful for out of those things. I feel, I don't know, a little bit emotional, not going to lie. How are you guys feeling?
I'm a bit like an end of an era.
Yeah. I'm still reeling from the song. I can't believe how much effort went into that. That's amazing. Have you actually left that room for the last 5 weeks?
No. I'm grateful for sleep. So make sure that you're signing up onto the Kahoot. Let's do it. So we are going to do a third place before we do the actual final, because I thought it'd be interesting to find out what would come third overall. So yes, let's just hold a few seconds silence for spoons, as well, as we are all mourning the loss of spoons. So let's just hold silence for a bit. That's probably long enough. Okay, yeah. So let's go into it, shall we? Let's find out what's in the final. And I just can't believe we're here. It's so incredibly exciting. So for third place, we have got Netflix versus school. I think this is an interesting one. I'm interested to hear what you would say in this. Martin, where would you put your?
I'm worried I might have completed Netflix, so I'm less interested in it now. And yeah, I guess it's hard for me as an old man, to feel excited about school anymore. But I do see the value of it, and I see how much people miss it. So I feel like I think school's going to win.
Interesting prediction, Katie.
It might do. I've been consistently surprised so far at how popular school has been. So who knows? Honestly, who knows? I'm still kind of camped with Netflix and Co because it is and Co. So you have got sort of Disney Plus et al. Thrown in there. But we'll see. We'll see. They'll have to answer to this.
Well,
it was school. School has come in 3rd place. Congratulations, school. You will receive your reward in the post. There isn't one. I don't know how I do that, whether I just mail like a trophy to every single school in the country. Could you imagine? That'd be mad. Interesting. So Netflix is in 4th, school is in 3rd. And let's just move on. So this is it. But before we actually go into the final thing, which thing are you most surprised didn't get further on down the line? Which one are you sad didn't get further on down the line? I think for me, Lego. I kind of wish Lego got a little bit higher up than it did.
I'm surprised that sleep didn't go very far.
Yeah.
I reckon that without sleep, we'd notice a difference. We'd maybe increase some gratitude. Just putting it out there.
But you never know you're asleep, do you? Really? So you're never aware of being asleep, and therefore you can never. Is it possible for a person to truly feel grateful for sleep because they never really experience it?
I think we feel grateful when we experience a lack of sleep. I found, at least in my own life. So
all right. Well,
we've got people saying nature should have gone further, and then just a lot of love for spoons as well.
Oh, but, shut up!
Was
coffee in it? Was coffee in it ever? Was coffee in it?
Coffee got beaten by spoons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course it did. Why hasn't coffee won this?
Well, Martin, it's okay. We're going to find out the winner now. So
I'm annoyed again.
The moment that you've been waiting for ever since Satellites Live first started. The finale to Rank Your Thanks. This is chocolate versus friends and family.
Wow.
Actually, I think it might be friends and family versus chocolate. I can't remember which way around it is, but that's okay. It's food versus people. And is that not the battle that's been raging since the dawn of time? Food versus people. Where do you think? I think it's pretty obvious where this is going to go. But let's just hear it out. Chocolate is biologically great. Like, it releases endorphins in your brain. It actually makes you happy when you eat it.
I think people feel sick after Easter. I think friends and family are going to walk this.
Okay. Well, let's find out. There could be a massive upset here.
Oh.
Friends and family has won. I think we knew that as soon as that was a category that was going to happen. But chocolate being second, who knew that was going to happen? Like, I think chocolate got very far in the list, beating out school, beating out Netflix, sleep, spoons. So congratulations, friends and family. If you are a friend or a family, congratulations. You have won Rank Your Thanks. Guys, that's it. That's the end of an era. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with us. And we shall be back next week with a brand new thing.
What are we going to do next? How do we top rank your thanks? If you have any ideas, by the way, just to break the fourth wall, we've got a planning meeting tomorrow. So just send us a message now, because we need something to replace this segment. Otherwise we're 10 minutes late.
I don't think people would complain. Shall we go on to faith questions? Every week we ask for your faith questions, and Zachary, the wonderful Zachary, records them for us. So let's hear the first faith question now.
Why isn't everyone a Christian? What's that coming over the hill? Is it a bit of fluffy and dancing a rainbow. Big fluffy unicorn, dancing a rainbow.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so why isn't everyone a Christian? It's a really big question, and it's hard to necessarily know why not everyone is a Christian. I wrote down a few ideas as to why I think there's a lot of people who aren't. So I think we live in a world that's constantly distracted. So we live in a world where our attention is brought up by lots of different things, including Netflix, including our technology and our phones, but other things as well. There's lots of things that get in the way between us and God and ever thinking about him. And there's another part of that, which is this idea that there's a lack of need of God. So especially in the Western culture, we have houses, the majority of us have houses, have money, have food. And so therefore we don't necessarily need to rely on God. We can rely on ourselves to provide for us. Whereas if you look elsewhere in the world, where there is more poverty and less of people having the bare necessities, actually faith is a lot stronger in those areas because they actually rely on God for a lot more. So I think there's a sense that because we don't need God, we don't therefore look for God. But I think it's interesting. So prayer has been Googled more than ever before in this time. So I think people are actually starting to realize, when things are taken away from them, when they suddenly don't have control over their life, they are looking for something else. And for us as Christians, we believe that God is the answer to that. And so maybe this will be the start of a revival. Who knows? It's quite an exciting time. But so there's a couple of ideas. There's a little bit more. There's something about like revelation and God revealing himself to people. And that's difficult to explain in like a minute. But basically, I think, unless you've had an experience of God, it's hard sometimes to believe in something. So I feel quite fortunate that I have had like a revelation in a sense, and I have experienced God's love and felt that for myself and know that tangibly to be true. Whereas some people haven't had that, and so therefore it's harder for them to believe in something that they can't see. But that's just a really short answer. I could go into that way more. So on to our next faith question.
What does it really mean to hear from God? How can I hear from God, and how do I know it's really him? What's that coming over the hill? Is it a big fluffy unicorn dancing a rainbow? Big fluffy unicorn dancing a rainbow.
Great. This is a really important question, I think, and a really important thing for us to be honest about our struggles with and our kind of doubts about, because communication and hearing from God is just such a key aspect of our relationship with him. Someone once told me this, and I think it's so accurate, is that the quality of a relationship is determined by the quality of communication. And so if we do not have positive communication with God, then we are not going to have a positive relationship with God. And sometimes, especially within church, maybe we just throw around these kind of sayings about hearing from God or God speaking to us. And for someone who doesn't really know what that means, because God is, seems like a kind of spiritual silent being that exists in heaven, then that can be really disorienting, and I don't know, we can end up feeling really lost. I know that there are certainly times when I have felt like that, but hearing God's voice is like just one of the best perks of following Jesus, guys. It's just one of the best perks of being in relationship with him, is having that two-way communication, is being able to say just everything that we have to say to him, our requests, our needs, our praise, what we love about him, what we're grateful for, what we're struggling with, the kind of things that we would talk to anyone about that we have any form of relationship or friendship with. And talking to God is crucial, but hearing from God is also crucial. And I think it's sometimes the bit that we miss out because we make prayers this short time where we just list off everything that we want to say to God and then we move on. Relationship isn't actually about a one-off prayer. It's about consistent communication. And so the Bible talks about this so much, talks about God quieting us with his love. So that means that he's tender, that he's comforting. In John 10, it says that the sheep follow him. So kind of like with the image of sheep and a shepherd, the sheep follow him because they know his voice. So it's about recognizing what God would be saying to us, knowing God's character enough that we would know what he would or wouldn't say to us. So if someone said, "Oh, Katie, I had a message from you, from your mum. She said that, I don't know, she thinks that you should move to, I don't know, Nigeria and not speak to her for a year," I'd go, "That doesn't really sound like my mum. That doesn't sound like something she would say. I know my mum." And in the same way, we can learn about who God is through reading the Bible and then be able to discern a little bit what are the kind of things that are consistent with his character and what are the things that aren't. So really quickly, here are some kind of 5 kind of guiding lights that I've learned about. These are things that have been taught to me by people much cleverer than I am. 5 guiding lights for how we know whether something that we think we're hearing from God is from him. So number 1, is it compatible with what's written about God in the Bible? Look to the Bible is our number 1 authority on who God is and the kind of things that he says. If it doesn't sound like the God in the Bible, it's not God. Number 2, find someone wise who you trust and run stuff by them, or more than one person. I know that for me, there are just leaders and wise people in my life who, whenever I'm doubting or whenever I'm wondering, was that from God? Was it not? I always run it past them because they're just wiser than I am. Number 3, do we have peace about it from the Holy Spirit? That just means, is there something in our gut that we believe is from the Holy Spirit that is saying, yeah, this feels right, this sits right? Do we have peace? And then number 4, does it make sense within our circumstances? Now, sometimes God says things that maybe don't make sense. I think if you read a lot of what was in the Old Testament and what was said to the prophets, you're like, what does that even mean? But does it fit within the circumstances? Is God making a way that makes that work? Number 5, lastly, and maybe most importantly, although all of those are very important, does it glorify God? Anything that God says is consistent with who he is and the fact that he is holy. He's just better than us and he's worthy of praise. If it doesn't glorify God, it's probably not from him. I would encourage you guys, if you can, find some quiet, find some space, and just sit down with God and say, God, what do you have to say to me right now? And be quiet and listen. Sometimes it feels like a gut instinct. Sometimes a thought just comes into your mind and you think, I wasn't thinking that. Sometimes you have an urge to kind of go to the Bible and look up a specific verse or look in a specific book. But always, like I said, run it past those things. Ask someone wise, see if it fits in with those circumstances. Check to see if the Holy Spirit is giving you peace about it. Does it glorify God? Is it in line with what the Bible says? That was very rambly, but I hope it answers your question. And of course, we can always chat about this more if you want to drop a leader a text. The next question is for Martin.
I don't feel worthy of God's love and feel guilty when I remember that Jesus died for me. What's that coming over the hill? Is it a bit fluffy and dancing a rainbow? Bit fluffy and dancing a rainbow.
The outro videos are all his idea. So this is a really honest and vulnerable question. It's not really a question, is it? It's a more of a statement that you don't feel worthy of God's love. I think that's the first thing to say. It's incredibly honest and vulnerable. Thank you for the question. The second thing is, I think it says a lot about you and your integrity and your honesty as a person that you'd even say that or ask that. And it sort of demonstrates that you don't feel a sense of entitlement about God's love, but you recognize that God's love is this incredibly precious gift and that it's worth everything. So that's an amazing thing just to start with. You, in asking that question, pat yourself on the back because it says you're not taking God for granted. But here's the most important thing. God's love, which is expressed in this most profound way through Jesus's death, is a free gift, and his love is just way bigger than we can ever understand. There's almost no point comparing it to human love because it's so much bigger, it's so much richer and deeper and more forgiving and more understanding and more unconditional than human love. It's almost impossible to compare it. The whole point actually is that we don't deserve God's love. So it kind of makes sense that you don't feel worthy of God's love because we don't deserve God's love. It says in the Bible, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us, and that's how God demonstrates his love. By the way, if you want to read about what God's love is like, that passage in 1 Corinthians 13 that sometimes gets read at weddings and things is amazing, and that's how big that just starts to help you understand how big God's love is. Now, look, here's the problem. The thing is that when you start to feel unworthy of God's love, you can start to go from there to thinking that actually there's going to be something that somehow can stop you from truly receiving God's love, that somehow you're not worthy and therefore you won't receive it. Everyone else will, but you won't. And if we feel that, that's not right. And we have to go back to something Paul says in Romans chapter 8, verses 38 to 39. You'll know these verses, I'm sure. Paul writes, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." In other words, there is nothing, whatever you've done, whoever you've been, whatever you've got up to, like whatever it is that's making you feel you're not worthy of God's love, nothing can separate you from that love. We don't deserve his love, but that's how big his love is. It doesn't matter. He loves us anyway, and he calls us worthy of his love even when we aren't. So enjoy that, and then as a response to that, give God your life. Give God everything. I hope that's helpful. I hope that helps to answer that question. Amazing questions this week, guys. Thank you so much for them. Please do send us more via the link in the WhatsApp chat. We'd love to answer more of your questions next week. That's all we have time for. It's 8 o'clock. Oh my goodness, that went quickly. How
Really
fast did it go?
That went very fast. Shall I close with a prayer before we go, Martin?
I'd love you to. Remember, next week's challenge is a trick shot. So you can video your trick shot and email it to satellitesyouth@gmail.com. And we promised next week we will bring back small groups. But Charles, why don't you pray us out?
Cool. Dear Lord, thank you so much that we have your word. Thank you for the Bible. Thank you that we are going to be going on this journey together and exploring your story and finding out more about you in the next coming weeks. Thank you for our leaders who will be reading that to us. Thank you that we can meet every week on this live stream. And Lord, I pray for those who've never heard your voice before. I pray that this week they may be able to hear you, that they will find the time to just listen and receive from you, Lord. We pray for your voice to be heard this week. And we also pray for your love and to say thank you that you love us so much. Thank you that, we don't deserve your love, but actually you love us anyway. Thank you that you love us no matter what we do, no matter who we are, that your love and your grace is overwhelming. And I pray that we can receive it as much as we can, Lord, even though it's quite difficult to do sometimes. So bless us in this week and look out for us, as we go about our day. Amen.
Amen. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. And remember, Jesus loves you, but spoons are evil. Good night.
No.